Hello, everybody, and welcome to the All British Motocross Podcast from Dirt Hub with myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub boss Paul Ooten in attendance. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic weekend of racing up in Duns, Scotland for the sixth and seventh rounds of the Motul ACU British Motocross Championship. And yeah, of course, all live stream for free there. So if you want to catch up with things, then absolutely fine. But yeah, spoiler alert, we will be talking about all the races, results, and comings and goings and happenings and crazy stuff because there was plenty of it to go through. So yeah, myself and Paul will work through things. I was obviously on the microphone up at Duns, which was a fantastic experience. My first time in Scotland, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Great welcome, great crowds, and great people to work with. So yeah, I came away wanting to come back. Really, to be fair, that was how I left Duns after the weekend. And Paul, you watched things online. How were things on the live stream from your angle?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed watching it. Always enjoy watching the British Championship, and yeah, I do think it's been really interesting this year. Obviously, we will get to MX2 in a bit because that has been juicy, been really interesting. But yeah, watching Herlings on the live stream was always interesting. He's just a pretty majestic rider, and he, obviously we saw him in Holland. To have him, what a treat for the Scottish fans. They must have been loving it up there, to see Herlings, because TV never does it justice, does it? It never does, like many sports, but it certainly doesn't do someone like Jeffrey Herlings when you see it in the flesh. Conrad Mewse too. When you see these guys in the flesh, when you see some of the lines they're taking and the speed they're going, especially when you're a rider and you see it. Sometimes when you're there and you can see how tricky and gnarly some of the track is, and you see how fast they are and how they flow through it. It's unreal. Yeah, no, what a privilege for the British Motocross Championship to have Jeffrey Herlings ride 2 rounds. We saw him for 4 races, and yeah, he didn't disappoint. Maybe disappointed the fact that he made the gate so well each time. Could have done with him coming off on the first bend a couple of times or something, just to make it a bit interesting, and giving Conrad to chase or something. But yeah, it's it was still great to have the bullet back.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, he did nail those starts, and that promises well for the end of his season for sure. Yeah, I mean, like you say, up close, the lines he takes and the bits he just bolts out of a corner. He seems to hit a rut and miss maybe the bumps at the bottom of the rut, so like riding up the side of them. And yeah, it just makes him just that extra little bit. It gives him that extra bit of propulsion out of the corners. He just fires out of the ruts, and yeah, it's very quickly he was pulling away. So yeah, top pace, and I think he's not far off his very top best pace on a 450 for sure. He's definitely looking in fantastic form. He's got the chip on his shoulder that he hasn't been picked for the nations for the Dutch team, which I still can't believe. And yeah, I just got a feeling that he just wants to win every single race, and that's nothing new for him. But I think now he is at that level where, okay, championship's gone, nations might have gone. I'm just going to prove a point and win all 6 GP motors to come. And I seriously wouldn't put it past him, even with the intense title fight in MXGP that is going to be going on around him. So yeah, from that side, it was great to see. There were things he was doing that was different. He shocked the life out of the Scottish commentator that was next to me, because we were kind of like freelance on microphones. And yeah, Sean Doherty, who's with me there, is unfortunately been paralysed there, so he's in a quad trackside, and he had to back it up a few mil because Herlings was landing further than I think Sean ever thought he would land as he'd come off the top of the jump by the end of the start straight. So yeah, he was really sending it, and yeah, it just lined him up perfect. The lines he chooses, it's just perfect. It's just great motocross. So yeah, superb to see. The way they scrub as well, him and Conrad do the same thing. They just hit the jumps really hard and just have this like violent scrubbing technique that is super dramatic and really exciting to watch, because they hit a jump super fast and yet somehow still stay super low to get the power back on when they land. So yeah, very sweet to watch live. And yeah, Conrad had nothing for Jeffrey in the end. He said you'd probably expect that, and you can't argue with him. But for Conrad, job done at the end of the day. He took the championship home, and he proved how much he really wanted it and how good he was in that first race on Sunday, because he had a terrible start. He was outside the top 10, and he cut through there on a track that was tough to pass. he cut through them like a dose of salt. It was something else to watch. So that was the treat that we had, that Conrad did get a bad start there, and he really showed what he could do.
Yeah, like I said, that was impressive as well, because he really did. There was some good riders. We're talking, the best of British there that he made look pretty ordinary, really, didn't he? Yeah, it was. Yeah, he certainly fought his way through, and yeah, a British title. That is his job. His job is to get the British title. He's done it. Yeah, he didn't beat Jeffrey. He wanted to, but he didn't need to, did he? At the end of the day, got the job done, and yeah, he didn't have to worry too much. Ling, really, whatever happens, happens. We know he's a pretty proud dude. He's going to want to win those final two motos. Yeah, let's be fair. Dave Thorpe and the Crendon 207 team, their goal is always to win the British Championship. They are a domestic Honda UK team, and that was the job. Although it was, like I said, in a way as expected of Conrad, it still really meant a lot to those guys, didn't it? You know what I mean? Like, you could really see how much it means to them. And fair play, because they are the team that all the other teams aspire to be like, because, not just on the track, but off the track, they're bar setters, really, aren't they, for where everybody wants to be and should be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a nice setup. It's they're good bikes. All the effort has gone into the machinery on the track, it feels to me. They are on a couple of small vans. They put the pop-ups up there. It's economical. It's super slick, and yeah, there's no nonsense, as you would expect from a team run by Dave Thorpe, really. So that's how you would expect it to be. And Conrad, a note on Conrad, that level that he reached at the start of race one, I said it in commentary and I meant it at the time, and I stand by it. That if he could ride like that on a consistent basis all the time, he'd be world threatening. He would genuinely be a world beater. That speed he had then, it was a match for anything Jeffrey gave us over the weekend, if not slightly better. He really did pull the boat out. And if he could ride like that all the time, I mean, I think he really, really, really pushed himself. And if he could do that without any mistakes, then you're looking at, a top level rider. And that is, yeah, it was great to see, but also obviously slightly frustrating because, as soon as he got to that position again, he was still fast, very, very, very fast, but in a bit more of a cruise mode. And just makes me wonder if he could push like that at world level, anywhere, everywhere, and all the time, then yeah, you would have a fantastic rider on your hands.
And that's the thing, you got to remember that Sterry and Adam Sterry and Josh Gilbert, they are GP riders.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Adam Sterry's been in the points a lot of times this year, and he's had some really good results. But Conrad, made mincemeat of him, really. Let's be fair. And yeah, like you said, we've seen Conrad, go toe to toe with Jeffrey, who, like you said, is unreal at the moment. Fair play to Lucas Koenen, that shows how good he was in Holland, to be fair. But yeah, yeah, it's still one of them, and we do get it, in terms of financials. Conrad's doing the right thing for his financial career, but I think for his racing career, like, yeah, we just so want to see him do GPs or America or do something, because yeah, I mean, to be fair, we sound like a stuck record on this, because we always talk about it, but we're not the only ones. I think it is something that resonates throughout our sport, because we are in need of a great British hope. We've got Ben Watson, and he's doing a great job, riding sort of around that top 10, which is unreal, really, on a beta, to be fair. But we know how good Conrad is. We know what he could do, given full backing in GPs. We saw at the Nations, like, he was unreal at the Nations, wasn't he? You know what I mean? So, or America, you wonder financially, I'd like to know, financially, how sort of Gio and Kulas are doing in America. Because let's be fair, Conrad, we saw how Conrad beat Harry Kulas, and I'd say Conrad's got better since he was duking it out with Kulas a few years back. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen where Kulas is in America. and I'd say he's certainly quicker than Gio. So what could Conrad earn in the States? I don't know.
That's the big question, and that maybe is a question he could ask himself. But anyway, yeah, I mean, they had a lot to come through. He didn't do any extra races really to the British and the Scottish championships this year. So because he had a wrist injury, and he knocked himself silly a bit at Monster Mountain, just making a mistake as he tried to pass Jeffrey. So he's he is the best rider we have, and and he's a 5-time British champion, and that is a very, very good record for pretty much anyone else. So let's leave it at that for Conrad. Josh Gilbert rode fantastically well. Didn't get the best starts in race 2 on Saturday, so yeah, that gave Adam Sterry there the overall podium, who had a better start and got through. But Josh otherwise was looking. He said himself he's now riding perhaps at his strongest, but his starts have kind of deserted him, which was a shame because it was the other way around recently. So yeah, Josh certainly looking very good, and for third in the championship, I think that would be absolutely spot on for where he's been. Adam Sterry, solid professional as you'd expect. Taylor Hamill had a good second race there on Sunday. There was a slight bit of banter down at the Monday collection area because Taylor had a massive wobble on. I'm not sure if it got caught on the cameras, but Taylor had a massive moment early on in race 2. Nearly crashed big time in the same way that Billy did off the tabletop. Ran off the side of the tabletop and went through a ditch and couldn't get back on the track at the same point. So he joined the track coming back the other way. So there was a course cut, but you can't really say he made time. And he rode back slowly onto the track, but he didn't lose a position, and I think that was something that a few people were moaning about. But for sure, Taylor didn't gain time by cutting the circuit. It was just a consequence of the kind of bobble that he had. Had there been ropes and fences there to stop him, then he would have been barreling straight into or through them. But as they weren't, he was able to rejoin the track. And if you're gonna complain about that, then you need to put up fences and ropes and all the other things that we used to have. So and that can obviously have its own danger. So where do you want to go with it? But he still, nevertheless, apart from that moment, he rode very, very well and was able to keep Adam back throughout race 2 yesterday on Sunday. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, see, I was looking at that, and the actual results from race 2 show him in 7th.
So he has been penalised then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just banter then. Maybe there was a a penalty there because they were hesitating on payout because of that. So okay, so they've knocked him down by 3 positions.
I'm just going to check that on there because it's got him as 7th in that race.
Yeah, because he crossed the line in 4th position, and then if you look at the lap chart, then Taylor comes across in 4th place. So he's been booted down there. So there we go.
I think like we were saying on the previous show that Taylor's starting to bridge that gap, to Sterry and Josh Gilbert. Like I said, he did that in that race, and he is starting to, I'd say next year, another sort of hard winter of training under his belt, at least Taylor, touch wood, it stays that way. An injury-free season for Taylor has really been good for him. Obviously, we don't know where he's going to be next year, if he's going to be with the DRT team or not, but hopefully he is, because I think he will really, grow again next year and possibly start to get on the box. And that would have been a really good result if he'd have got that 4th, to be fair, because he would have got 4th overall. Which would have been a great result. If you took Jeffrey out of the equation, that would have been a podium, which would be huge for Taylor. And that is the type of confidence boost he needs. But to be fair, I think he had one at the Monster Masters. Really, really good to see Taylor nudging towards those the sharp end with those boys.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's go through this. So for the first day, we had Herlings, Mewse, Sterry, podium, then Gilbert and Hamill. And then, Brad Todd put together 2 solid rides on the Saturday for 6th overall. John Adamson was a little bit off colour, I felt, on the Saturday, but he got better on Sunday. Now, the incident with Don Adamson. Did you see anything on the live stream there?
No, I didn't. It might have been on there, but I didn't see it. If it was,
Footage of Brad Todd with his handlebars a right mess.
I seen the handlebars. Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay.
John was catching, and obviously John's fired up. He's at home. He was catching Brad Todd. He didn't really get the best of starts that I thought he might get, being fired up. It didn't translate into a good starts for him. But yeah, he was charging down and catching Brad, and even the commentators there said like Brad and John have been racing each other since autos, since nappies.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're well accustomed to each other's methods, should we say? And yeah, John, there was a jump tabletop along the top of the track, and when people were making a move, they were over jumping it, landing on the flat. Just launching off things. It was a short, small tabletop, very small launching ramp, and yeah, if you went for it, you would long jump it and make ground. Although it was physically demanding to do that every lap. So yeah, John basically said he's going to launch you here, and he did. And then there was a little hump on the entry to the corner, and then he went down that big downhill, the Motul Mountain we called it. He went down the big downhill from the top of the track to the bottom. And yeah, so he goes on the top, long jumps to the tabletop, and then goes to the inside of this hump. There's no track marker post there, as he said to me afterwards. There was no track marker post. He didn't cut the track officially. But yeah, he went off the side of it, and he was a little bit out of control. It's John. And then he just barreled into the side of Brad on the face of the launch down the hill. Yeah, Brad's bike was kind of lunched as a result. John had a scar on his elbow, a scar on his back from the impact. He properly went into him, and somehow we thought John had disappeared off the side of the jump and like he was on the ground as well. But then he reappears at the bottom of the circuit. He didn't even lose a place. So it was absolutely insane. I'm like, how on earth did he even stay on there? I don't think the cameras would have caught it because they might have been watching the leaders. But yeah, it was a hell of a move. And yeah, for sure, Brad was steaming. He went straight to the old ACU guys afterwards, and yeah, was not happy at all. But unlike the Taylor Hamill incident, I guess they had no footage of it. So yeah, that's why perhaps nothing happened. But either way, yeah, it was a tough one. But as John said, there's no track marker post there. So how can you say I'm going to cut the track? And that's something else that I think maybe track designers and builders need to look at. They need to get these pegs down there, because otherwise it's just open to interpretation. Simple as that.
Is this on Brad's vlog? Because I haven't watched it yet.
I'm sure that Brad talking about it is on Brad's vlog. I haven't seen it either yet, but yeah, I should have done, I guess, just trying to get ready for the big MXGP trip. So sorry, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, we will have a look at that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting viewing. Actually, I'd look forward to seeing that now.
I mean, I don't think, because you had to be at the top of the track to see it, and I don't think I remember his man there. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, there we go.
So yeah, anyway, either way, they both rode really well. Yeah, sadly Brad had to drop out because of the damage to the bike at the end of that one. But yeah, John himself, I think, considering he's had a few injuries and a few issues this year, yeah, that wasn't too bad for him either to get 6th overall in that second day.
Yeah, like I said, that's been good for him because yeah, it's been a tough year. But yeah, some solid rides. And if you look at the championship now, just going back, which I did have up and it's gone, which is quite annoying. John has got a good chance from what I can see. Right, I did have it here. So yeah, John's in 5th position here. So I think he's looking good because obviously he's moved past Tristan Purdon. And that looks pretty solid there, that 5th spot for him. I think at the start of the year, if you'd have said you'd have 5th in the British Championship, I think he'd probably take that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he rode pretty well. And yeah, just as always, a bit of a it's always, you're always going to get it with John. As simple as that.
You know what? And that I like that about John Adamson. There's no, do you know what I mean? There's no quarter given, is there? He literally puts everything into it, and I think that's what you want from a rider. You want someone that just means it, that really wants it, and just goes for it. And that's, he's entertaining. He's got a big following for that reason, really. And
Yeah.
I just love watching him because he's all out. Unfortunately, it didn't. I'd say put Brad Todd in a very similar bracket, to be fair. And so you can see them two coming together at some point or another, to be fair.
Yeah, I just had a quick scan of the vlog from there. They don't show the accident, but they show the aftermath, and I'm sure Brad talks about it in very colourful detail.
Cool. Look forward to that. One rider
Good.
who's really moved up and had two sort of solid days is Dan Thornhill. I think everything Dan Thornhill's been really quiet this year. Chambers Racing rider. He's had a slow start to the year. It feels like he's been on that build, and because it was a slow start, I think we've forgotten about him. But going back to those championship standings, through different riders' injuries and things like that. Tristan Purden now out. Dan Thornhill looks like he could it's between him and Carlton Husband for that sixth spot in the championship, which is a big deal to get in the top six for Dan, especially how quiet things were at the start.
Yeah, Dan was riding really well. Decent starts, getting out of trouble, and coming through the pack as well. So yeah, like I say, up to seventh in the points now, with no Tristan Purden around. He's only 10 points shy. He's only 6 points shy of Purden. So, and he's only 16 away from John Adamson. So that's not out of the realms of possibility either, just to get to the top five. So yeah, for Dan, it's been great, solid riding. You could say, yeah, a few people have got hurt, but Dan hasn't. So what's he going to do? Take advantage. So that's what he's done. Yeah, that second race, okay, it was actually a seventh because Taylor obviously got penalised. But still, those extra bonus points were certainly well deserved. He rode supremely well all weekend.
That's cool. And then Tom Grimshaw, sort of consistent, really. So you can say, looking at his results, consistent both days, really.
Yeah, didn't get out the gate too well for Tom. That was his biggest issue there. The Landrake results were better, mainly because he started better. But yeah, certainly had great pace. There was one of the races where he fell back. I think he had a little spin in the corner, and he had to pick it back up. But yeah, he did so and moved back forward as well. So yeah, the fitness is there, the strength is there. He's over his shoulder injury now, so it's just pressing forward through the winter. And obviously another factor is that he's on his own because Martin Barr is obviously out injured, so he's on his own in that team, which is new for him, shouldering that responsibility. But yeah, he rode very well.
Cool. And then we've got Carlton Husband, who, like I said, hated Landrake, back on more familiar soil this time. Consistent rides, really, and that's made a difference in the championship standings for him as well, because he's looking pretty good right up there. Again, another rider. You said at the start of the year, would you take a top 8 in the championship? I think the Phoenix Tools Fantic team would be over the moon with that. And Carlton's a rider that we sort of sometimes forget, really, but he's always there. He's always grinding out the motos.
Yeah, and he's only 14 points back from Purden, so a couple of decent results at Ling will see him up into seventh in the series. Yeah, for sure. Carlton is, solid rider. What was entertaining for me was the ground was almost pretty much the same, I thought, as Landrake. So yeah, I don't know whether it's the hills he doesn't like or what the difference is there that he didn't like about Landrake. But to me,
And like the journey, I think it is.
maybe it's the journey. I don't know. Yeah, maybe the hills. Obviously, the hills at Landrake are something different. Yeah, I don't know. The ground itself didn't look that dissimilar, but I didn't get to talk to Carlton, so maybe he hated Duns as well. I don't know, but yeah, he certainly rode better there, and yeah, it was a decent showing. Although perhaps he might have been a bit disgruntled by how fast his teammate for the weekend was.
Yeah, well, moving on to that one, Jed Etchells. So hasn't ridden, I think it was since 2017 when he was in MXY2. That's the last time he'd raced proper motocross, pro motocross. But, you don't become a world champion for nothing. He's been a British Enduro champion, but also a world junior Enduro champion. He's ridden in the ISDE, obviously not this ISDE. He's had a torrid year in the Enduro GPs, but yeah, fair play to come and get top tens, and look fast. Fair play to Jed. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this could spell a change in direction for him, or if he's looking to stay in Enduro. Obviously, Enduro GP very Italian sort of based, a lot of it, so maybe coming back home might be a thing for Jed, but obviously very talented endurer. So I can imagine it'd be hard for him to tear himself away from that where he has been so successful. But maybe a few more guest appearances might be on the cards for him.
Yeah, good results. I mean, 10th overall and 8th in the second race on Sunday was pretty spectacular. And he just had good starts, good pace all weekend. Got better through the day, so 13.9 on Saturday, and then 14.8 on Sunday. So good points, and put him right in amongst them. So it was pretty good to see, and fitness definitely helped, I think, because it was getting a bit tough out there, and even a bit of sunshine beating down. So that would have affected the riders too. But good performance from Etchells all round. Really impressed.
Cool. I'd see Louis Kessel as well. We said he obviously had a good round on his home turf, but on Sunday he had a good 11th as well, up a long trip for him, so that was good to see. A rider that obviously didn't quite go to plan and showed some good early speed, Joel Rizzi, looked like he went down pretty hard on Sunday, and just something that we really didn't want to see, because we really, Joel's a good guy and we just really want to see him gain some confidence boosting rides, really.
Yeah, it was rough for Joel. Again, a decent ride at the start of today, although the race 2, he was down early on at the start, and then similar story in this on Sunday. He was 5th for quite some time. If you look at the lap chart there, he was right up there for some time in 5th place, but just dropped back a little bit there. Adamson got by, and then also Brad Todd. So it wasn't brilliant for him to fall back to 8th, because he was much higher up than that for most of the race. But other than that, for sure, the arm injury, I think it's possible broken arm, I think is part of the issue there. So that's not sure how complicated, because arm could mean elbow, it could mean wrist. I'm not really sure, but either way, it doesn't look good for Joel, and I'm not sure if we're going to see him at Ling yet.
Yeah, that'd be a big blow to him, really. It would have been nice for him to finish, this season, fit and healthy. But hope Joel's okay. But that's pretty much covers MX1, really. Obviously, we've got a title winner, and that's what we sort of expected. Fair play, well done to Conrad Mewse, and look forward to seeing him at Ling and at the Nations. Let's see what Conrad can do against the world beaters.
So on to MX2 then. The wild, crazy mix that was, and I'm really intrigued to see how the points worked out. But or should we do the points for MX1 first? Or do you want to do
you want to do prediction points? Okay.
MX1 first, yeah.
So MX1, let's have a little look at MX1. Okay, round 6, 8 points to you, 7 to me. So you put 1 on me. And then round 7, I got it back. And I think Hamill was the one. You had Adamson in the top 5, and I had Hamill. So I think that's where the points difference was, really. It was Taylor. Taylor did the job for me.
Oh well, there we go.
So all square on the MX1 front is what I said. One.
Okay. So MX2 then, for the let's just talk about the racing itself, and we'll go to our predictions after that. But yes, so first off, on Saturday, Oriol Oliver was flying in race 1, and Judy took the win there. Ben Musto rode supremely well to keep Kai Karsmaker's back, although Kai fell over his back wheel on the final lap, which was a real shame for Kai. But Ben held on tight to get that one. Behind him, Tommy Searle, Joe Brooks, and Charlie Heyman. I think Charlie had a little crash there, so that's what cost Charlie a little bit of time. And then race 2 coming back, Tommy just did a Tommy thing, got the start and held on. So it worked really well. He did pass Joe Brooks, and Joe was running supremely well. But for sure, Saturday, Tommy taking the overall result again. We always underestimate him, but he delivered once more.
Yeah, we didn't. We certainly didn't underestimate him this time like we did the last round, did we?
No, I don't think you did anyway.
No, no, neither of us did. Neither of us did. You know, last round, you know, we expected Tommy to be sort of nursing his back and, you know, sort of trying to get in the top 10 to get some points, and proved us wrong at Landrake that yeah, he's still a tough old dog, is Tommy. But again, like I said on Saturday, you know, getting the moto win, getting the overall, extending the points lead again on the Saturday. Yeah, you know, a pretty happy crew in some respects for the Dirt Store Triumph team. But yeah, it was a weekend of highs and lows, you could say, for Triumph and the Dirt Store Triumph team as well, specifically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously Joe Brooks on a completely private triumph there. I mean, yeah, Tommy sort of stalked him down about half distance and made the pass in race two, and that was great work for him. But yeah, Tommy for sure delivered things there. He did say after Sunday he was a little bit tired, and in fact was openly critical about the 2-day format at Duns. So yeah, saying something like, "I hope whoever thought of it got out of their system and won't do it again." But there we go. That's that one's up for debate. So yeah, Tommy obviously suffering there a little bit with the second day, which perhaps is evident in his result. But he still made ground on the people that he needs to beat. So yeah, Charlie and Charlie Heyman, of course, and Ben Musto, who are now second and third in the series. And yeah, the main reason why, I don't know if it got picked up on the live stream, but yeah, the big crash from Billy Askew in race one. I saw it. It was literally just after I think Cars Makers crashed at the same sort of time. So somebody like I'd just seen one crash and my eye was taken by that rider picking the bike up. I know actually it was Charlie. It was Charlie Heyman that fell and picked the bike up behind Cars Makers and Searle. But then yeah, Askew just flying off the side of the bike, off the side of the track. I'm sure as he took my eye, he was upside down, like Billy was upside down himself, and the bike, God knows what angle it was doing. But yeah, so they ended up on opposite sides of the track. Like the bike was way down on the left, and Billy was off to the right, crawled off to the right, tried to get back up, stumbled over a few times. It was quite painful to watch, and on the commentary, I was perhaps, and I apologise to all the organisers if I got a little bit upset because I could see he was stumbling, and if he was stumbled onto the track, it would have been horrendous. So yeah, I was just hoping that somebody would have got to him and stopped him from just getting up all the time. So he obviously knocked himself a bit silly there, and yeah, we just hope that he can get over that. And I very much doubt he'll be in Turkey this weekend for the EMX races. Hopefully he'll recover, rest up, and at least go for a good result at Ling, because the championship is now gone for Billy, which is a real shame. But you know, if he finishes the season strongly at Ling, then hopefully he won't be feel too bad in terms of the actual sort of confidence levels.
Yeah, we caught some of that on the stream. We sort of caught him the aftermath of it, sort of similar to what you were saying, sort of hobbling off the side of the track. So we did see a little bit of that, and yeah, no, it's a real shame to see that for Billy, because it's been nice to seen him battling it out with, you know, Musto and Heyman, you know, and Tommy for that sort of that title fight. So we do hope Billy is all right. Like you said, I think from the Dirt Store PR, it sort of said he's going for sort of checkups this week. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't need
that's
any
good
more
news. Yeah,
details than that, really.
yeah, that's good news. Because obviously he's a bright hope, but you know, with Billy in there, you know, if you count Billy as well as a promising young Brit, he's one of four that were, you know, the other three were superb over the weekend. Joe Brooks has come back from injury stronger than I've ever seen him. And we've always been saying it that, yeah, we want two good results from Joe. And he did 2 days of two good results. So that was just fantastic. And yeah, two podium results. I think his first podiums in adult racing in MX2. Perfect. Could not have hoped for better for Joe Brooks. And suddenly we've got a new star that hopefully we can all see blossom in the future, because he rode brilliant. And, you know, bear in mind that for Joe, Charlie, and Ben Musto, you know, they were racing 85s as recently as 3 or 4 years ago. You know, these kids are coming up in good order. So, and they're racing against Oriol Oliver, Kai Cars Makers in particular, these two riders who go to GPs, score points, get in the top 10, even in the case of Oliver, challenge for wins. if these young Brits can hang in with these guys, they've got a future. They can get in there amongst it with the EMX 250, which is the stepping stone. You grind out in that class and get good results, and you're going to get noticed for the big teams for Grand Prix level. So that's what we all want our young riders to do, and we really hope that we see that from all four of them: Joe, Charlie, Ben, and Billy. They've all got the possibility to do that, and it was great to see them really up there at the sharp end. They were not getting wasted by their older or more illustrious opposition. It was great to watch.
And I think there's quite a bit to be said about that. And I know, there is talk out there, why doesn't, the Sean Simpson's team and DRT have, British riders in there, and I get that to a certain point, but also we do need some of these European riders to come over because we need them to sort of challenge our young riders because, if Oriol wasn't there or Kai or Max Werner and stuff like that, they've got no sort of gauge to where they are. They've got no one to possibly up the pace a little bit more. You know what I mean? We sort of need those riders, and for the credibility of the British Championship, it's great to have them here as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you could almost add to that young Brit list. You can also add Ollie Colmer, who in the second race on Sunday, he had a hell of a collision with Glenn McCormick. It was Ollie's accident, as Glenn told us on the Dirt Hub post race show, which is on YouTube, of course, if you want to catch a bit of loose, raw post race action there. Lots of things going on, but yeah, for sure. Ollie made the mistake. Glenn McCormick hit him. Couldn't avoid him, and he was in pain. He was crawling back to his bike. I thought he was going to roll into the pits, but he kept on going, ground it out, and unbelievably had another big crash. And I was so sorry to see that because he didn't deserve that after getting back on from the first one. And then even then, day two, he was back out there, no issues, and fighting hard. So I think day two, Ollie, he ground out a top man. He was 11th and 9th in the two races. So yeah, that, considering what he went through on the Sunday, that is not bad at all. He scored points in Lommel this year in the sand. So and he's out there training in Belgium, so he's only going to get better there. So yeah, Ollie is another one that another young Brit that we've got hopes for. And I've heard he is doing the full MX2 championship season next year with Chambers, so that would be really cool.
Fair play, that's good news. Another sort of young, maybe not quite as young as these guys, rider that put himself in the mix with his Moto 2 race on Sunday out of the blue, Eddie J. Wade. Obviously, we haven't really seen much of him as in outdoor motocross. We've seen him ride on the Start Varg in arena cross and have some hairy moments, but some good results as well. But third place on Sunday in the second moto. Where did that come from?
No idea. I would never, ever have. I was saying things in commentary that I never thought I'd be saying. Think about Eddie Wade has just passed Kai Carsmakers. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I mean, he was wearing, as on a private KTM, he rode most of the weekend just in like body armor over a shirt in 90s style. And then he turns up race 2. He's got a big number 7 on his back because he's wearing his Stark Future Arena Cross shirt. He's number 217 in the program. He's got big number 7. It's like a club rider turning up and thrashing the British Championship crew. It was quite unreal. He made a little mistake, and in fact, he made a mistake that messed up Charlie Heyman. So that was the reason why Charlie fell down the order in race 2, because Eddie stalled it in the corner. I think it was when because who passed him? Joe Brooks passed him, I believe. Hang on, where was he? He was third, and who was second? It was Carsmakers come past. So Carsmakers passed him. Eddie stalled the bike, and then Charlie kind of stumbled over him and fell, which was a real shame for Charlie because it messed up his race. But hey, Eddie was up there. I mean, what a great amount of pace! And he even said, I think on the live stream afterwards, that wow, this was just a one-off for me, but I might do a few more now. So brilliant, 2017 85cc junior champion, world champion. So Eddie's got abilities. He was that's exactly the same. Apart from a few years earlier, as what Conrad did. So, it's pretty impressive. But hey, why not? Let's see him get up there because he certainly was good value.
You've got a thing about riders riding the number 1 plate. I've got a thing about riders with gaffer tape numbers. So I think Eddie J. Wade should have had his gaffer tape number on and then rock up get on the podium. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Jed Etchells was doing a bit of that because he had I think the number plates from Josh Bales 479 just with the 9 taped over.
Do you know what? My thoughts about Jed Etchells have just gone up. You can't beat a bit of gaffer tape, mate.
But no, I mean, yeah, Eddie was superb, and let's face it, he's third. Who's behind him there? Joe Brooks, Tommy Searle, Ben Musto, Charlie Heyman, all the kids we've been talking about, and like Eddie just pops in amongst all of them randomly. I mean, his other races, yeah, he didn't get great starts. He was 10th in race 1 on Sunday, and then on the results on Saturday, he was, well, I'm scrolling, so that gives you an idea. 2/12ths. No, 12th in one race. Second race DNF, but yeah, amazing from Eddie J Wade. Really, really cool.
But you would have thought as well, after having, been fourth moto, racing predominantly arena cross, they'd be knackered by race 4, wouldn't you? But that's the one where he fits in his best one.
Yeah, just so random and brilliant. We love stuff like that. So yeah, 5th overall, and yeah, he held his head high. He was there in the paddock, and yeah, all of a sudden people are looking at him. So pretty cool.
So other riders to mention, Callum Mitchell, some good results over the weekend. Sort of building from a really good second moto in Landrake from Callum.
Yeah, 9.868 over the weekend, his races. So that's super consistent, as consistent as most.
Yeah, and the big one on Sunday for me was Liam Garland, because Liam has had, you can't even say a year or two. It's been a prolonged time of injuries and bad luck. Like, he is, I'd say, the most unluckiest guy out there, because a lot of what's happened to him, a lot of the injuries he's picked up, has not been his fault. He always just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But to get 8th overall, with 2 really good motos, then I think that is a massive achievement for Liam, because he's got such a great style as well. Like he looks so good on a bike. Yeah, what a result.
All action, yeah, 11-12 on Saturday, but then he really picked it up on Sunday with 7-11 score. Sorry, with 8-10 finishes. So yeah, 8th overall on Sunday, and genuinely superb. Okay, he was helped slightly by Kai Cosmakers having a mechanical DNF in race 1. Kai would have been up higher than him otherwise, but yeah, other than that, a clear top 10 for Liam. Like you say, all the luck has gone completely against him, so I'm sure he won't mind a bit of luck helping him up to 8th overall, because he's certainly got some more cash in the bank from that side of it. So yeah, brilliant. And like you say, a good start. Short guy, clearly an MX2 pilot, but yeah, enjoyed himself and riding really, really well. So that was good to see.
Cool. Obviously Glenn McCormack's in there with his Motocross of Nations pick, but I'm just looking at the championship standings there. Glenn McCormack is in 5th, and I think that, but he has got Jake Nichols 2 points behind him. Jake, I read his social media post. He was pulling no punches about his performance over the weekend. He wasn't happy with himself. But Jake is in 6th in the standings, 2 points behind Glenn. I think either of them will be pretty happy with 5th in the championship after Ling. So it could be a little bit of a dogfight between those two at Ling.
Yeah, Nichols wasn't at the races in the same way. He didn't get off the gate very well, and he was scrapping. Then he'd see him drop back. So yeah, he was one that sort of he didn't really stand out. It was like, I didn't really sort of tend to catch what was following, because the thing is, it was so crazy up at the front. So you'd look over and see where people were, and Jake would be up and then he'd be down, and then yeah, he'd be all around. So yeah, it wasn't easy from that side for Jake. And obviously, yeah, Billy is now dropped down there. So Glenn has taken advantage there of a couple of riders having problems, and that's what motocross is all about. If people don't score, you've got to score instead. So Glenn got up there to 5th, and yeah, we'll see how well Billy can come back. You would expect Billy and Jake to be strong at Ling. So, but hey, Glenn is there right now, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. So yeah, it was pretty solid from him.
Cool. A couple of other riders that, looking down further, obviously Davey Pooches, which you did speak to him, and Jay Haig was another name that cropped up, sort of making a comeback in there.
Yeah, pretty random on a 250 two-stroke Yamaha. So yeah, that was pretty random, but he rode well. I mean, I think he got a good race going on in on Saturday at least. Yeah, he got up to the points, 18th place, and he was higher than that for a lot of the race. So Yeah, good riding from Jay, and a rider that was a great talent, of course, and just a combination of injuries, bad luck, and problems, he's now more of a part timer, but yeah, he showed the sort of ability he's got, which is pretty cool. And the two-stroke Yamaha sounded sweet too.
Cool. And what did Davey have to say? Because it didn't go all to plan for him. He had looks like he had one good race over the weekend.
Yeah, he said himself that he was just standing on the back brake for too long in race one and burnt it out. Just overuse or something, and it faded, and I think he fell, and that was that. So came back 13th in race two, which was a bit more like what he can do. But yeah, just a case of he had a back injury January 24. He hadn't been racing since, and he was called up off the couch. So, the SAS TPC guys, issues with the Mio brothers. We won't be seeing them on those bikes again. I can't even go into that. So we won't see the Mio kids with that team anymore. So they have the bikes, and they gave Davey a call, and many teams saying like, how do you get hold of him? And they just said, well, let's try him, and that's what they did. So yeah, Davey is looking forward to a bit of sand at Ling. He's got his old mechanic from where he was at JWR Honda. They managed to call his mechanic because he's not too far away from where the team are based. So yeah, he seems to get on well with the team, and I mean, obviously the weekend didn't go to plan. I don't think he even lined up for race two simply because he was kind of destroyed. So, motocross is very tough when you've had so long off of it. And MX2 is a real cauldron right now. So people are carving him up left, right, and centre. But yeah, Ling is more his kind of going. When he knows he's got that to come, he's got a couple of weeks to build things up. They're going to go testing. You might see Davey slip into the top 10 at Ling if all goes to plan, because he's still a talent for sure.
Cool. Looking at the standings then, maths brain, Tommy Searle, 29 points up on Charlie Heyman. What position does he need to get in Moto 1 at Ling to secure the title?
So he's got to leave that race 25 points clear of Charlie. Charlie has yet to win a race. So as Tommy has won 3 races, we're talking motos here, across the season, Tommy would take any tie break. So he needs to be 25 points or more ahead of Charlie at that one. So if he's first or second, Charlie can't do anything. So first or second for Tommy wins the title. If he's just ahead of Charlie, then he still takes the title. Charlie needs to be 2 positions ahead of Tommy Searle. And like that is like 2 positions in the top 5 ahead of Tommy Searle to take the championship to the final race.
Okay, so Tommy just needs a fairly good couple of motos titles his, essentially.
Yeah, Ben Musto's got to catch up 16 points in the first race to even have a chance of nicking it in the second one. So yeah, Musto is mathematically still in the hunt, but it is now mathematically it can only be one of those 3. Oriol Oliver is 4th, but he's 56 points behind, and there's only 50 left.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, but likely that is our podium. Then Tommy Searle, Charlie Heyman, Ben Musto. Ben could overhaul Charlie with a good weekend, and if he gets some bikes in between him and Charlie, which to be fair, we've seen MX2 is a funny old class there, and so many riders in the mix that could have good results. You throw in Joe Brooks in there, maybe Eddie J Wade in there. You know what I mean? You couldn't. I think in this class, the guys that are at the top, if they make a poor start or they come off early doors, you know what I mean? You could see a 10th, whereas in MX1, if the same happened to say Sterry or Gilbert, the likelihood is they're going to make their way into the top 5. Whereas MX2 is not like that, is it?
No, it's not. And also, just in case the question arises, because it is the same day as the final GP of the year, Kite Cars Makers is going to race in Australia instead of Ling. So he won't be at the final British round. But Oriol Oliver said he will be. So Oliver is not. Oliver and the Gabriel team are not heading out to Australia. I don't think they'll be in China either. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be in Turkey, because it's the last EMX 250 round as well for Max. But yeah, for sure, they won't be going to Australia, and probably not China either.
And no nations pick for Oriol either.
Now, that surprised me, because speaking to Guillaume Fares earlier in the year, he told me that he didn't didn't really want to ride in America because he's had so much bad luck there. So many injuries that he didn't want to ride in Ironman. So they've had a bit of a debate with him to turn that one down. So a surprise that there's no Prado, but for me, even more surprised that it's not it's Fares, not Oriol, because I think they've both got similar pace. Although Fares has had the highlight results of race wins in the mud at Teufelstal and so on. But yeah, for me, I think Oriol might have been a better pick. But hey, there's a factory triumph there, and of course they'll have factory triumph access from the States as well. So that might have helped Guillaume's cause.
Yeah, wow. Points, mate. The points. MX2.
Oh, this
Okay,
is for us.
so this prediction points. Is there anyone else you want to mention before we do this?
I don't think so. Josh Vale is 10th in the series. I don't think we mentioned him. And he just had a sort of workman-like British Championship weekend for a rookie. Again, he's the sixth of our strong teenagers that could run forward in the future. And for sure, that was a very workmanlike performance. And he's going to have a good winter testing. The second year on the bike, hopefully the second year on the team to get that continuity, and then we'll see what he can do next year. But yeah, Josh, I think for me, Josh needs to get into EMX 250 and start grinding out the results because that will bring him forward. But we'll see how we go. And one last word, Carl McNichol. Was great to see him get up into the top 13 to 15 at his most local meeting. And it was good to see Carl get up there again because that's another rider who's had so much misfortune in his recent career.
Yeah, like you said, great to see Carl out there. That was good to see. So MX2 Saturday didn't go well for you, Ben. I'm afraid. 4 points for you on Saturday.
4, not all. Oh,
Four. And I
of
got
course, who
6.
did I have?
You had Oliver, Searle, Heyman, Carsmakers, Musto.
Oh yeah, it didn't go well, did it?
No. So 4 riders. To be fair, you got 4 riders out of the 5. But I got all 5 out of the 5, and Ben Musto was in the right spot. So you got 4 points. I got 6. Sunday, you got 4 points again. You got Oriol correct, and so did I. But I got Joe Brooks. I got in there, which you didn't have.
And all I had was Charlie.
You had Charlie, Searle, and Oriol.
Wow, that's a nightmare.
So yeah.
Oh well.
So I pulled 3 points on you in MX2.
Scott, I'm in trouble now. Oh well, there we go.
Yeah, making it interesting going into the final round between us. But we'll have to see after the 1-2-5s how that's shaping up.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, wrapping up MX2, then Tommy Searle definitely got every chance now of taking the title in race 1 at Ling. But you never know. I mean, anything could happen as the weekend showed. Billy had an issue, but you've got a feeling like Tommy will do what's necessary, which is kind of what he's done all year, really.
We said it last year, right? Could this be the year? Always go back, Speedway fans. Bruce Pennell retired on the podium, went and starred in Chips, right? Tommy Searle, crowned champion. Will he retire on the podium?
That's highly.
This is literally what we said last year, by the way.
Yeah, that's highly possible. Although, did you catch what Conrad Mewse said on the podium as well?
No.
He's going to be on a 250 at Ling.
Interesting.
So whether that means that the nation's team pick that I got told is correct or not is another matter.
That is very interesting that he is going to be on the 250. I didn't catch that. Fair play. Okay.
Yeah, all the podium, all the people around the podium. Ooh. So yeah, he did say he might fancy a 250 at Ling. So
we must be one of the last teams to be announced at the moment. There must be a lot of deliberation going on.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on because I think the team I heard would have surprised a lot of people. I'll talk about it after it gets picked officially. So hopefully we can talk about it before Ling. The team I heard doesn't have Conrad on the 250. They had him on a 450, I think. But yeah, you never know. So
will you give me fake news, Ben?
I might have been given fake news myself. Somebody told me it was a done deal, but that's all I'm That's like this is why I don't say these things now until they're
To be fair,
officially.
you told me it was going to be announced last week.
I did say that, but yeah, I
I'm
think
sitting
this.
there watching my emails, honestly, ready and waiting, super keen.
Yeah, I
Didn't
think we
happen.
are one of the last ones now because everybody else, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, have got Cairoli. Can you believe we've got Cairoli racing the nations and not Herlings in
Unreal.
2025?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
ridiculous.
Jesus.
So
Crazy.
ridiculous. But yeah, there we go. I mean, I can believe it. Cairoli a bit stronger than Guada, the way Guada's been lately. So yeah, but yeah, we've got to be one of the best, the top teams of any interest that haven't been announced yet. But there we go. That's just how we do things in the UK. 125s. Let's do
Yes.
it.
125s. You know what? We'll literally talk about our predictions, but we said we were really hopeful of Ryan Waggett, being on not quite home turf, but home-ish turf. But fair play to Charlie Richmond because he looked unreal, really. Just four superb races, really. Fair play to Charlie because, Ryan Waggett is no slouch, and we know how good Hayden and Drew Stock is and the rest of the 125 crew. But Charlie Richmond, really did elevate himself, I think. I think this was it. This was, essentially what is sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, really. This was a really good weekend for Charlie Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, it was much more of a hard pack circuit than I thought it was going to be. I just don't know Duns. I thought it was like softish, but yeah, it turned into a proper hard pack circuit at the end. It was dry. It was sunshine and wind, so all the moisture just disappeared. Certainly by the last race, but Charlie was amazing. It got to be said, he was absolutely perfect. Waited patiently when he didn't get the start. Bolted for it when he did get the start. There were crashes along the line for a few other people, and that was that obviously didn't help. But yeah, Charlie, whole shot and hide in race one, perfect race for him there. Drew Stock disappeared in that one, which was a real shame for him because he was an easy fourth, and then yeah, they had a problem with the bike. Race two, Richmond stalked Waggett for the entire duration of the race and was just on him, Ryan just could not relax, and ultimately, yeah, Charlie was able to dip past with 2 laps to go. So yeah, amazing ride there, and Stat Stock held their ground. Harry Lee got past Finney Pickering later on for 5th place, which I think has helped you out as well. But there you go. Yeah, for the Sunday, again, I thought it might be a case of Ryan being able to get it back. But again, it just didn't happen. I mean, Ryan actually was passed by Charlie, then made a mistake and dropped back behind Hayden Staton Drew Stock to finish 4th in race one. So that was a real shame for him. Staton Stock had a good scrap going on, and Hayden just about got the better of Drew on that one. So that was a really good battle between those two. And then, yeah, in race two, oh, let's get the lap charts up if they're there. Oh, they're not. Okay. Yeah, race two, Charlie just got a start. Was just looking amazing. So yeah, it's tough for anybody else because Charlie really did take over, and now with a bit of an iron grip on the championship. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking good championship wise. What is it? 29 points now. 29 points over Ryan Waggett. Obviously, Hayden Stat or Drew Stock can't now catch him, so it really is just Ryan or Charlie. But Charlie, looking at that, really just needs probably a top 5 finish in the first moto.
If Ryan
29.
wins,
So no, he still needs a good. He
if
still needs
Ryan
a
wins
top
it,
3.
then yeah, if Ryan wins it, and let's face it, Ling is more Ryan's bag. It is soft with Sandy, so yeah, that's where Ryan could possibly strike. So, but he now needs help because if he's first and Charlie's second in race one, then the championship goes to Charlie. Simple as. So yeah, that's just how it's going to run. So he's got to hope for a Stock or Stat or others to get in between them, and that could be tough. Even though I think Hayden likes it a little bit softer, so I think Hayden might be a threat. Because to be fair, Stat was all over Richmond at the start of both races on Saturday. He didn't quite get the same starts on Sunday, but yeah, Hayden looked like he was going to pounce at any moment, and that really would have messed up Charlie's attempt at the win because Hayden was riding really well. But yeah, I think that S Briggs team have got their bike really singing because yeah, there were times when Hayden was with him, and yeah, Charlie's bike just sailed on down the straight. So yeah, it's just one of those. But to be fair, yeah, Charlie was absolutely superb, so you can't fault him at all.
Yeah, and fair play to, like I said, Charlie. Charlie is really, I think he's really matured this year, and I think he's matured since his battle with Drew Stock. I think that actually really did help him. To be honest, I think that was probably, he might not have said it at the time or thought it at the time, but I really do think that made a difference. I think that matured him. I think that really sharpened him up. To how tough the competition are really, and yeah, he's just really since then sort of sailed off into the sunset really. Some other good rides in there from a few riders we haven't sort of heard from previously, and I'm just looking at obviously Finley Pickering coming back from injury. That was some really good rides from him. Wyatt McGregor, I think he's been doing the AMZA Championship. He had some
Yes, he
good
has been.
results in there.
Yeah, it has been, and his sister Amber also rides the British Women's the BWMA series. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're South African.
Okay.
Yeah, they certainly fly the flag on their shirts. So yeah, so not quite sure of the whole story, but hopefully I can track it down, or maybe speak to my friend who works on the AMCA Championship. So yeah, I'll speak to them before the next round and see if I can get some more info on the McGregors, because yeah, for sure Wyatt had a very consistent weekend, and yeah, rode very well. So yeah, it was good to see.
Like I said, Harry Lee, he was in my prediction. So, thanks, Harry, for getting in the top five. Zane Stevens, a long, long trip for Zane Stevens. But he put in some good motos there on both days. Christopher Brindley, Lucas Moncrief in there. Joe Granger, then a rider that I don't know much about, but he had some good results.
Yeah, he's a Kentish rider, and yeah, he's been doing okay on the Eastern Centre, I think. And yeah, he was fantastic in race one. Had Harry Lee behind in the final race on Sunday. Had Harry Lee all over him for most of the race, and it took right until the very end, I think, when Harry was finally able to pass him there. But yeah, great riding from lots of different riders who are perhaps new to the just got refreshed there. So yeah, Hayden had a crash in the second race, so that's why he dropped down from second to fourth. So that was a problem for him. Weiger had to get through from a bad start. Finley actually dropped off the table there. I think had an issue with the bike. He had to push it back. Lucas Moncrief had a crash as well that dropped him down. He finished 11th. But yeah, Granger only just with 3 laps to go lost out to Harry Lee. Holland and Stevens were doing well. Ollie Holland had a decent ride, and Chris Brindley also got a couple of top tens. So yeah, lots going on. And Robbie Scott, a Scottish rider, wild card there, number 13. He got unlucky for some, but he was 9th in race 2. Did a really good ride. So yeah, they were calling out his name all weekend as the top Scottish kid, and he did really well in the end. So yeah, so I played some 10th overall.
Cool. Fair play to those guys. Right. Prediction time. We were all in on Team Wagger, to be fair,
Yep.
which Charlie Richmond yeah,
I regretted it as soon as I saw the track. I'm like, and I think the Scottish commentators, because they were the first class, so the two Scottish guys I had with me on the commentary were kind of rooting for Ryan Wagger because he rides up there, and I was thinking, I think Charlie's going to do this now. And they tried to make it a bit of a England versus Scotland thing, but yeah, I think Charlie ended up deciding it for us in the end. But yeah, what a ride. And yeah, for sure, for both of us, I think it was a surprise that Wagner wasn't able to do the business. But yeah, Charlie sorted it out.
well, we were
So
pretty poor on Saturday. You had 3 points and I had 4. So I suppose, that's not awful. You got 3 riders right in the top 5 and I got 4 riders right in the top 5. And then on Sunday, you got 5 points and I managed to get all 5 riders right and got 6 points.
that's not on.
So essentially, over the weekend, I did gain a good few points on you. I gained 3 points on Sunday. I haven't even put Saturdays in there. Hold on.
Yeah, I think the prediction side of it.
Yeah, I think I'm about
Lost
4
out.
points up at the moment. I need to recalculate it. I think I'm about 4 points up on you going into the final round.
From all classes, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm in trouble. Okay.
So you need to pull your finger out, mate. What was the forfeit? Was there a forfeit? I can't remember what we
I
said.
think it was I buy the next big curry night, wasn't it?
Sounds all right to me. Yeah, I'm all good for that. But yeah, no. So yeah, moving on to Ling, mate. That's going to be, you know what? There's not much. There's not much of a title fight going on. There is, we still got Tommy and Charlie Richmond has still got to get it over the line. But there is podiums to be decided. There's team places to ride for. There's pride at stake. Conrad on a 250. That is going to be really interesting. I don't think some of the 250 guys are going to be happy for Conrad to come and beat him on this last round. And you know what Conrad's like. He's going to want to win it.
I think
No
it's
pressure.
I think it's Carmichael coming back to a 125. That one time he did that in the AMA when he came back to do that record. He went back to 125s and just disappeared. And I think Conrad's going to do exactly the same thing. So yeah, who knows? But with Tommy being where he is, I think I can't see him. I can't see him risking everything to beat Conrad. He will happily stitch up the championship, but I think he might be slightly annoyed that Mewse might take the top spot away when he's got a chance to sign off on the top. But either way, for sure, Tommy won't give a monkeys as long as he's got that golden plate at the end of it. And they did have a nice golden plate to present to Conrad at the race. That was pretty nice as well. So yeah, fair play to the organisers for getting that set up. But I'm sure Tommy will fancy one of those. And yeah, as he said, these championships don't come around very often. And he's up for it. I think he will do what's necessary for sure.
Cool. Well, thanks again for listening to the All British Motocross Show presented by Dirt Hub. We'll be back again with a preview show of the final round in Ling very shortly. And we'll look forward to speaking to you then.
Thanks for listening.